Hello everyone and welcome to my Everbloom Fire Mage guide. Today I will be doing a step-by-step guide on how to be successful in this dungeon. When to pop cooldowns, when to pop time warp. So I'm going to be doing a level 20 fortified Everbloom. And to start off, your tank is going to start pulling this massive pack here, and since there's so many ads, you're going to pop Lust and pop all your cooldowns, and you're going to focus on the guy who is casting Choke and Thorns. But since I am Flame Strike build, I need to be dropping my Flame Strikes on the entire pack. And yeah, just make sure you're using your interrupts here, which consist of Dragon's Breath, Blast Wave, and Counterspell. So we did a good job here, only one person died, and we are continuing through the dungeon and ready to pull the next few packs. It's pretty much just rinse and repeat and making sure that you are using your defensives, which are Altar of Time, Mirror Images, Mass Barrier, and Blazing Barrier. Now, there's also another defensive that I don't think a lot of people know about, and that is Invisibility. And Invisibility is actually a great defensive, and when you get out of Invisibility, you reduce 60% damage. So make sure you're also using Invisibility as defensive. And then of course you got the classic Ice Block or Ice Cold. I like using Ice Block and Ice Cold for different situations, but I feel like Ice Block is good for when you need to remove like a debuff, and Ice Cold is good when you just need to keep on more damage uptime. So we're making our way over to the boss right now, and we're about to fight these next three very tough packs. Okay, so for these next three packs, we have a new set of ads called the Everbloom Mender, and the Everbloom Mender heals, and we want to make sure that we interrupt these heals because it actually does heal probably about like 25 to 30% of their health, and that does waste a lot of time. In addition, there's also still those ads that are casting Choke and Thorns, and so there's a lot of casters in these packs, and so as a mage you want to try your best to use your Dragon's Breath, use your Blast Wave, and just like that right there. If you get choked, go ahead and blink out. Yes, you can blink out of stuns, and as you can see, we wiped on that pack, and if your whole team wipes, one strategy you can use is quickly use Invisibility and get out of there and wait for your team to come back. Alright, after you're done with killing those packs, it's time for the first boss. If you have your combustion up, your meteorite, and your trinkets up, go ahead and pop everything. One thing that's awesome as a Fire Mage, if you are talented into this, is we can actually Lust again with Sated. So you'll see in a few minutes that I will be popping Lust like I did there right now. And the goal of this boss, right, is pretty kind of like tank and spank. But the one mechanic you have to deal with is he's going to put some roots on you, and you want to make sure that you place the roots to intercept the water balls that are going to reach the boss. So I got an arrow and I'm going to place it behind the boss, so when one of these water balls hits, it's going to spawn an ad, and you're going to target the boss, and you are going to cleave down the ads. So that is how you kill this boss, and it's just rinse and repeat. Make sure you're not standing in any of those swirls on the ground, and you want to have like a really nice little little U shape around the boss. As you can see, those three balls are getting in there. We want to, probably put some roots onto the right side. But that's okay. This boss will go down pretty easily. So once you kill the boss, your tank is going to gather up all of these flower ads, and you're going to kill as many of them as you can, pop any cooldowns if you have them, make sure you use any defensives, like I almost died there. But yeah, keep your distance. That's the one thing that a mage has over melee or anything, is that we can keep our distance from these ads. And now another ad that is very dangerous is called the Melded Berserker. They usually target the player that is furthest from the group, and they jump on top of you and do a wind whirl that does a lot of damage. So you kind of want to anticipate the jump like this and run out. If you stand in it for any more than a couple seconds, it will pretty much kill you. So make sure you're popping your defensives here. And I recommend when you get to this pack, if you have your cooldowns up, try to use them here. Another new ad that we come across here is the Twisted Abomination. It's pretty much a tank ad, and it doesn't really need to be focused down. The Everbloom naturalists who cast the Dancing Thorns and choke ability is a more important target to kill. Yeah, the Twisted Abomination is really not that much of a threat. Just make sure you don't stand in front of them. Okay, so now the boss that everybody hates. Everyone hates this boss because when you're doing it in a pug, people don't interrupt what they're supposed to interrupt. But as a mage, you're going to Timewarp here. You're going to pop all your cooldowns, your trinkets, your potions, and you want to interrupt Toxic Bloom, and you also want to interrupt the heals that are coming from the water guy at the left. Okay, but what's really important about this fight is your positioning. As you can see, those pools that fell on the ground, they fall based off of where you're standing. Okay, so as a mage, since we are a ranged character, we want to be standing as far back as possible so we can give our melee and our tanks a lot more room. And that's pretty much it. So just to review, make sure you get those interrupts out and make sure you're positioned correctly. Alright, now that you've killed this boss, you're going to move on to this next ad pack, which are a bunch of mages that cast a bunch of different spells. And so I will go over some of the abilities. To start, you'll have a mage that casts either Frost, Fire, or Arcane. Some of the Frost as Cold Fusion will send Frost Orbs to the back and will come to the center. Make sure you move out of that circle. If all the balls hit you, you will die. Next, we have an ability that cannot be interrupted. We have the Cinder Bolt. You need to use a defensive here, presumably Mass Barrier, or Ice Cold. But yeah, you want to focus down that Putrid Pyromancer, because that Putrid Pyromancer shoots out all of those Cinder Bolts and it hurts the group a lot. So for the next ability, we have another ad that's casting an Arcane Orb called Spatial Disruption. Make sure you get out of that. And also make sure you're interrupting any Arcane Blasts, Pyroblasts, or Frostbolts. Okay, so now we're on boss number 3, and if you have Timewarp up, you're going to want to use it with all of your cooldowns, and some of the mechanics here are pretty much the exact same from what we saw with those ads, but there are differences. So one, the Cinder Bolts now drop pools on the ground. Next, we also have those Frost Orbs that fall on the ground. Just make sure you run out before they hit you. Next, we have this Arcane Orb, which I feel like is the most deadly because it pulls you in, and it can pull you into a mechanic like the Frost Orb right there that stunned my teammate. And so those are all the mechanics. You got the Cinder Bolts, you got the Frost Orbs, and you got the Arcane Orb that pulls you in. You should pretty much be able to kill this boss if you follow the mechanics correctly. And finally, we have the last boss. And this boss has a few mechanics, so let's go over each one and how to counter it as a mage. Mechanic number 1 is Colossal Blow. So he's going to cast Colossal Blow and it's going to do AoE damage. Make sure you use a defensive. Next, he is going to summon an ad. You have to put all of your DPS into this ad and kill it as fast as possible because it increases the damage of its Colossal Blow. Next, when the ad dies, it will summon a bunch of flowers, and your job is to run over and collect all of the flowers. If you need to stop DPSing to touch all the flowers, that's perfectly fine. So here's some of my advice as a mage. 1, you want to save all of your defensives for the Colossal Blow because it has the potential at higher keys to one-shot you. So therefore, make sure you're not overlapping your defensive abilities. And that's pretty much it. I hope this video was helpful to anybody who is playing a Fire Mage. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks.